You know, some dates on the calendar just feel louder than others. They kind of echo with history. And February 27th? It is definitely one of those days. It's packed with these incredible stories of glamour, political fire, mind-bending speed, and the power of a single voice. So let's pull back the curtain on this one date and see what we find. All right, let's start things off in 1932 with the birth of a true, undeniable capital L legend, Elizabeth Taylor. But her story is so much more than just what happened on the silver screen. You see this number? That's not how many Oscars she won. Oh no, that's how many times she got married. Yup, 8. To 7 different men. Because, she married Richard Burton twice. Because why not? Her personal life wasn't just a footnote. It was pretty much the main event. And this right here is where you could argue we see the birth of the modern celebrity. I mean, before Elizabeth Taylor, an actor's private life was, well, for the most part, private. But with her, everything, the romances, the health scares, the jaw-dropping jewelry, it all became front-page news. She was feeding a media frenzy that she kind of co-created. But here's the thing. For all that glamour and drama, there was this other, incredibly powerful side to her. She actually weaponized her fame, becoming this relentless activist for HIV and AIDS research during a time of intense fear and social stigma. She proved she wasn't just a movie star. She was a fighter. So while one star was being born, a very different kind of fire was being lit over in Europe. Just 1 year after Taylor's birth, on this exact same date, an event unfolded that had absolutely nothing to do with Hollywood glamour. We're jumping to 1933 in Germany, and the tone here shifts dramatically because this is a story about just how quickly freedom can be extinguished. Okay, just look at how fast this all happened. On the night of February 27th, the German parliament building burns to the ground. Hitler, who had only been chancellor for a few weeks, immediately blames the communists, calling it a terrorist act. And by the very next day, he pushes through something called the Reichstag Fire Decree. The result? Basic civil liberties, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, the right to assemble, all gone, suspended. Just like that. In less than 24 hours, the legal groundwork for a dictatorship was in place. All right, let's shift gears completely now. From the destruction of democracy, let's pivot to the absolute height of human ingenuity. We're celebrating a birth on this day back in 1910, that of a man named Kelly Johnson. Now, you may not know his name, but I guarantee you know his work. Kelly Johnson founded this legendary and super secretive division at Lockheed called Skunk Works. Their job was, well, pretty simple: design the impossible. These were the brilliant minds behind some of the most advanced, top-secret aircraft ever built. And this was their masterpiece, the SR-71 Blackbird. Its top speed, Mach 3.2. That's not just fast, that is over 3 times the speed of sound. We're talking 2,200 miles per hour. It flew so high and so fast that its pilots had to wear literal astronaut suits. So how did the SR-71 defend itself from enemy missiles? It didn't have fancy countermeasures or modern stealth tech. Its defense was brutally, beautifully simple. If a missile was fired at it, the pilot's instruction was just to accelerate. It would literally outrun the missile. Pure, unbelievable speed was its only shield. Okay, let's jump forward again, this time to 1973. This is a story not of speed, but of standing your ground. It's a story of defiance, of historical wounds, and a fight for justice that took place on a piece of land that was just heavy with memory. The location is Wounded Knee, South Dakota. Back in 1890, it was the site of a horrific massacre of hundreds of Lakota men, women, and children. You fast forward to 1973, and this exact same site becomes the stage for a powerful act of protest. And believe me, the choice of location was no accident. It was a deliberate echo of that painful history. On February 27, 1973, activists from the American Indian Movement took control of the town of Wounded Knee. For 71 long days, they held it, completely surrounded and besieged by federal marshals. It was this tense, armed standoff, but at its heart, it was a desperate and powerful plea for the U.S. government to finally honor the treaties it had signed and broken for centuries. For our final story, we're going to 1968, to a moment that shows how sometimes the most powerful force for change isn't an army or a protest, but a single trusted voice on television. It is really hard to overstate the influence of news anchors back then. And Walter Cronkite? He was the king. People often called him the most trusted man in America. When he spoke, the entire country listened.
So in the middle of the Vietnam War, Cronkite goes to the front lines himself. And when he got back on February 27, 1968, he did something a news anchor was just never supposed to do. He went on air and delivered a personal editorial, telling the American people that, based on what he saw with his own eyes, the war had become a bloody, unwinnable stalemate.
And this quote from President Lyndon B. Johnson, it says it all. When he saw that broadcast, he knew. He knew that if the most trusted man in America no longer believed in the war, then the public support he relied on was just gone. It was a major turning point, the moment the political will to continue the war really began to collapse. So there you have it, the echoes of a single day on the calendar. The birth of a celebrity who changed fame forever. The day a democracy was dismantled by fire. The mind behind a plane that could literally outrun missiles. A defiant stand for justice on sacred ground. And the moment a broadcaster's voice helped end a war.
It's just an incredible collection of human experience, all tied to one single date. It makes you wonder, right? As you go about your day-to-day, what stories are unfolding right now? What echoes will this day leave for future generations to explain?